Stop programming and start prioritizing. This is how athletes should be training. Athletic training is often overcomplicated and more about flash over function, views over performance. And I want to give people the raw truth and clear the smoke, which is why I'm starting the slogan, prioritize, don't program. Programming gives you a list of objectives to complete with the expectation of a certain result after completion. The problem with this is that every athlete joining a training program will have a unique starting point. Generalize too much and the results won't be as potent. But if you are too specific, most athletes will just be left in the dust. The difference with prioritizing is that it's all about chasing the lowest hanging fruit. What I mean by this is to do the most correlated exercise to your practice possible, while doing the least amount of damage in the process. This is an example of a list I have made with the goals of achieving a 50-inch vertical jump and a sub-10 100-meter dash. Your list should also account for your strengths and your weaknesses. My strengths are my conditioning and my elasticity, and my weaknesses are my strength and injury. Jumping and sprinting are always my top priority because these are the most correlated to what I am trying to do, which is run fast, jump high. The problem is that these are really stressful on the body and you can't handle these at an intense level pretty often. So these exercises I'll do once or twice per week, maybe 3 times, but that's pushing it. And these are my tier 1 exercises. Now if we go down to my tier 2 exercises, we have exercises like squats, trap bar deadlifts, hyperextensions, any of like my strength exercises, because these are, like I said, my top priorities because my weaknesses are strength right now. So I want to improve strength as much as I can. And these you can also do more often because they're not as intense on your tendons as jumping and sprinting. So my strength exercises, I try to get, for example, squats, I'll try to do 2 to 3 times per week. Most of these exercises on this list, I'm doing them 2 to 3 times per week, maybe even 4, but 4 is pushing it as well. Now, if we get to the tier 3 exercises, this is stuff that is important. For example, I do a lot of shoulders. It's an upper body muscle, but it's still important for jumping and sprinting because you gotta, you know what I mean? But these are still important exercises, but it's okay if you miss them here and there. Like these are exercises I won't do as much, but they are still important. I'll do these like pretty much twice a week. I'll try to hit these twice a week. And if I miss them, it's not the end of the world. It won't hinder me from reaching my goals if I happen to miss these. And then if we go to the tier 4 exercises, these are the exercises that aren't important, but I'll still do them just for conditioning sake and building muscle, pretty much conditioning, because they allow you to burn calories even though they're not essential for your sport. So like stuff like bench press and stuff like that, I might need another tier for bench press because those aren't really important at all. But these will still contribute, but not that much. Like the contribution for these are so small that it's really not even worth even paying attention to. Like these are just like my fluff exercises that I'll just do just for general burning calories work, which will help. Which conditioning is important for athleticism. So yeah, that's my those are all 4 tiers pretty much summed up into a chart. Now, depending on where you are at or what your strengths and weaknesses are, you will have to adjust. For example, if you really lack like calf strength, you might even have that in tier 1 because a lot of people, or glute strength, which I talk about in my other videos. Most people do lack glute strength, so hip thrust could be like your number 1 tier exercise if that is you. But this allows you to really just focus on what you need to do instead of worrying about, because programming is more of a general thing. I find like it's hard to, for example, let's say if I'm following a program and it says I need to squat, but my knees hurt because I did so and so the other day. Now I can look at where I would look at the program and be like, oh, it's saying to do this, so I have to do it, even though it might not be right for that day. If I prioritize, I can look at the list and be like, okay, my knees hurt, So I can't jump today or I can't sprint today. What's the next thing on the list? Squatting? Maybe I can't even squat. Maybe I'll do on the same tier. I have like hamstrings and glutes, whatever, hyperextensions, calf raises. Maybe I do that day. Or if my legs are completely bust, I can't do that. Then I could go even further down the list, and I can go to my upper body movements, such as shoulders, that are important to your vertical. And if that's even sore, I go down the next level. I'm like, okay, these exercises won't really contribute to my vertical, but it's good for conditioning, and I can give my legs a break while still training. So that's how I like to look at things. And I think every athlete should look at training this way. It's because you always want to be doing the things that move the needle as much as possible. And what if, because for example, what if my legs happen to be, what if my legs are fresh and the program says to do upper body, and I feel like I could jump, I could squat? Why would I follow the program instead of deviating and doing what I think would move the needle more, which is the actual act of jumping? So that's just my opinion. I think most people would agree with this logic. It's just, it took me a while to come up with this, but that's how I always work out, but I never had a way to structure it. But I thought of a way to structure it in a way that I could share to others and share to the public. Yeah. I am starting a Discord because I want to do more stuff like this, sharing information with the community and having others even share what they think or their thoughts, their facts that they've noticed from training. So no matter how experienced you are, I think that the Discord will really be useful for you. In the description below,